Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
Couldn't have happened for real, you know, and I tear up about it because you read about it in the paper, and it's obviously very unfortunate. But that wasn't me. Like, I wasn't there.
Accused killer Ashley Hunter breaks his silence, saying he wants to speak up for himself so people know who he really is. We begin tonight with a Valley News Live exclusive, a one-on-one jailhouse interview. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Mike has the evening off. Police say Ashley Hunter turned himself in while he was high on meth after he allegedly killed 2 people in June. His friend, 45-year-old Clarence Flowers, and a former NDSU student who had no connection to Hunter, 24-year-old Samuel Trout. Hunter tells us tonight that he doesn't remember either of the attacks, and he says he wouldn't ever hurt anyone. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson sat down with Hunter tonight and has this exclusive story.
Really trying to figure out how the heck did I get in this situation, like who's done this? I don't remember anything during that time, you know? All thing I remember is being scared to death. You know, I just remember being really fearful, and I remember like trying to remember where my friends were.
Are you saying that you're innocent?
I'm innocent. I know for a fact I never hurt anybody and I've never killed anyone in my life.
Hearing about the murders of Samuel Trout and Clarence Flowers is confusing for Hunter, who says it's a sad situation, one he claims he doesn't remember.
I could never see myself like just outwardly hurting anybody or trying to take something from someone.
This isn't his first time behind bars. He's served time for a whole host of offenses. He shared his struggles, being homeless and getting caught up with people who took him down the wrong path.
Drugs, I would say drugs have kind of impacted me in a sense where it's helped me not think about my homeless situation at times, you know, like smoking marijuana or something. That kind of was like, put me in a position where it's like, well, I just don't care. I'm not going to worry about what's going on.
While he admits to doing drugs, he says they wouldn't make him do things he normally wouldn't do. But authorities say otherwise, pointing to that for the reason for the killings. I asked him if he wanted to share a message for those grieving.
I don't even know what is going on as of yet. My attorney, he's really been helping me out, but he's scaring me more than anything because I don't understand who they're talking about. This situation, to 100%, I don't understand, you know. But as far as talking to people out there, I mean, I don't really know what I would say. I would just, you know, say they'd have to know me on a personal level.
As far as Hunter's next step, he's unsure of what to do. But while he's in jail, he says he's fine, able to get his medication, and has a place to sleep. Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Hunter is facing 2 counts of murder and 1 count of arson. Currently, he's pleading not guilty. He will be back in court next month. Well, sources close to Aaron Knodel say that the Education Standards and Practices Board have allowed him to keep his teaching license. Knodel is a former North Dakota Teacher of the Year who was acquitted of charges accusing him of having a sexual relationship with a student 6 years ago while he was a teacher at West Fargo. Last week, Knodel was reinstated by the West Fargo School Board with a unanimous vote. The Minnesota father accused in the death of his 10-year-old son entered a guilty plea today to second-degree intentional murder. A grand jury indicted Pierre Collins on first-degree premeditated murder charges in the death of his 10-year-old son in June. Investigators say Collins killed his son in order to collect the life insurance policy and money. Collins had 2 life insurance policies on the boy, totaling $50,000. The final decision for alcohol sales during Bison games at the Fargo Dome is still up in the air, but Mayor Tim Mahoney tells us that they have come up with a decision on the beer garden for the public that would be inside the Fargo Dome. He says that ultimately the decision is up to the Fargo Dome. We talked with Mayor Mahoney after the City Commission meeting to check the progress of alcohol sales in the Fargo Dome.
I believe we're going to see that on the agenda coming forward. What I've seen is there's some study that had to be done and some more technical things as far as staffing and how it was going to be done. And we'll look at that, then we'll put in our 2 cents.
Mahoney adds that if you have an opinion on the matter, to speak with a local commissioner. Well, a federal judge ordered a pro-life group secretly taping employees at Planned Parenthood to stop releasing their undercover videos over the weekend. But on Capitol Hill, Republicans still tried to get legislation off the ground that would take Planned Parenthood off the budget. Our Valley News Live Washington correspondent Alex Miller has much more.
Senate Republicans failed to take the first steps Monday evening to defund Planned Parenthood. This after a fourth video was released allegedly showing another Planned Parenthood employee selling aborted fetus tissue. The vote ensured defunding Planned Parenthood will not happen at least before August recess. A handful of Senate Democrats gathered ahead of the vote to refocus the mission of Planned Parenthood from abortion to women's health.
No federal funds are going to any of the activities involved in abortion services provided by Planned Parenthood. It's only 3% of what Planned Parenthood does, but none of it involves federal funding.
Two Democrats, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Senator Joe Donnelly of Indiana, voted in favor of defunding Planned Parenthood. Manchin said, quote, "Until these allegations have been answered and resolved, I do not believe that taxpayer money should be used to fund this organization." In Washington, Alex Miller, Valley News Live.
The president has already said he'll veto any legislation that would defund Planned Parenthood. But the bigger problem may be what lies ahead in Congress. Many members of the GOP say they'll refuse to vote for a spending bill that funds Planned Parenthood. Meanwhile, we could be looking at another government shutdown in the coming weeks. Supporters of a planned ice rink at a downtown Fargo intersection are confident it will be ready for use by this December. A downtown community partnership committee wants the temporary outdoor rink on portion of city-owned parking lot at the corner of Main Avenue and Broadway. The group is working with the Park District and the city to work out details on the portable 80 by 80 foot rink, parking, maintenance, and staffing. The rink has received preliminary approval from the Park District Committee, but it still needs approval from the Park Board, Fargo's Parking Committee, and City Commissioners. The buzz is spreading quickly around town about the film Supermoto. It's a film that's being shot in Bonanzaville in West Fargo. Valley News Team's Christine Stanwood went behind the scenes tonight with producers and directors before filming began, and she has an inside look.
Lights, camera, action.
Hey, quiet on set.
I travel a lot for making movies. I thought, well, let's make a movie here. Why don't we try it?
A little bit of Hollywood is arriving right here in West Fargo's Bonanzaville. The whole film will be shot in eastern North Dakota, but the film wasn't originally supposed to take place in North Dakota.
The movie was originally set in Death Valley.
Matthew Myers, producer of the film, has always wanted to make a film in Fargo after living here for 4 years. He explains the plans for filming today's scene.
Today we're shooting an interior scene inside this set. This is the Wheatland Township Hall and Jail, which is serving as the interior location of a scene of the film.
Casting director David Winterstein says he wanted an authentic cast for the film.
We're really getting the North Dakota flavor by just bringing in people who do live here and who are from here.
But this movie might need you. 25 extras are needed for a kegger and bonfire scene in Kendrick on Thursday and Friday.
So that's what we're looking for, some people to help fill in there. Who are these young, wild party kids who would come together for this event?
Just know you won't be getting paid the Hollywood big bucks.
And we've got $25 per person for people who can stick it out.
Supermoto is expected to be released in theaters sometime next year. In West Fargo, Christine Stanwood, Valley News Live.
Now, if you'd like to be an extra in Supermoto, email supermotocasting@gmail.com, and you're also encouraged to attach a picture of yourself. A record number of motorcycles heading to the 75th anniversary of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally have law enforcement and the Department of Transportation scrambling. If you're heading to the rally in South Dakota, it's a traffic nightmare, and the number of traffic deaths have spiked, 6 on the area highways and 1 in town. Jim Bush has been the police chief in Sturgis for 25 years. On day 1 of the rally, he says he's never seen the city this packed. He says every street, bar, and establishment was full as he cruised through town. The recurring theme this year, traffic is a nightmare. You cannot get anywhere fast, and that includes inside and outside of Sturgis. Tomorrow morning on the Valley Today, more on the traffic and crime concerns and how much money people are spending while in Sturgis. And if you're heading out to the rally, Send us your pictures. Just email pics, P-I-X, at valleynewslive.com, and you can see the photo gallery and all of Lisa's coverage on the homepage at valleynewslive.com.